I backlit this limited edition Game Boy Color with absolutely no shell trimming or soldering. Here's how I did it. So let's get started. This is a limited edition ice blue Game Boy Color. There are instances, like for limited edition Game Boys, where I'd love to mod them, but I don't want to do permanent alterations to the shells. This is definitely a kit that I would recommend using. So I'll have everything that I use in this video linked below. What you want to do is start with the tri-wing. There's 6 screws on the Game Boy Color, so you just go into each of them with the tri-wing screwdriver. So once the 6 screws are off, you can just pull it off and set the back part of the shell aside. And then the immediately loose pieces are this little power switch and the infrared cover. So what we have here is 2 bales connecting the motherboard to the display. You want to lift them up. I'm going to use these tweezers. I normally use my thumbs, but so that you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to use tweezers. You want to be gentle when you lift them up. If they break, which they are fairly brittle, you're going to have to replace the connector, which does require soldering. And I personally, I don't consider myself a soldering expert, but I have not been able to replace a connector. It's too tough for me, so be careful. That's not to say to be afraid to do this mod either. But anyway, so once you lift up the 2 bales, it releases the ribbon, and you can just go underneath and gently pull it out. Although it doesn't necessarily matter if you damage it, if you plan on having your Game Boy backlit forever. So then you grab your Phillips head, and there's going to be 3 Phillips head screws down on the bottom half of the motherboard. You just want to take those out. Next, since you already disconnected the ribbon cable, you should be able to pull this out. I definitely recommend at this point, I think I've already messed with this motherboard. I would definitely clean the contacts, clean the speaker, put a generous amount of IPA in the potentiometer, the volume wheel, so to speak, and the power switch, and any other place that's kind of dusty. You want to take the display out. You might as well take out the buttons and membranes. They just come right out. Just don't lose them. You want to twist like an ice tray a little bit. Very gently. You don't want to crack the shell. Very rarely have I cracked an original shell by being too rude, aggressive with it. But anyway, you want to like bend a little bit on one edge. I use my thumb and just kind of lift it up. Oh, by the way, what I did is I just picked a corner and just put some pressure. This kit should come with a replacement lens that is glass anyway. So now it's time to start with the mod kit itself. Okay. So there are some wires that this kit comes with. I am not going to use these wires. This is a adhesive gasket if you're using a new shell. This shell already has the adhesive still there, but if you were going to use a new shell, you would just take the top with the ridge up here. Look, it has a ridge on the top, so this is how you would line it up. And notice this is a thicker side, so the thicker side goes on the left, thinner on the right. In my case, since I'm using an OEM shell, and probably in your case, unless you are using a new shell, you won't need to do that. So you take this clear insulating film and just place it to the back. This helps ensure that if the electronics touch, that there won't cause a short because there's this insulation between the parts. So what you want to do now is grab this glass, and you might want to grab your tweezers for this, but just go ahead and peel off the adhesive paper cover and then peel it off. Kind of fold the plastic over so that it doesn't get caught under the lip, and then just place it in. In my soldering station, I have one of these, but I also have a little like camera lens cleaning kit, and so the same tool, you just try to keep there from being dust on the lens, peel off the film on the display, which actually is being a little finicky right now. Okay, it's coming off. And then just try and get dust off. Just spray the display and the lens, and then just place it in. And again, it might be a trial and error to find the right alignment. But once, and so what you would do is just put in the motherboard, connect it, and then put on the back of the shell and test it and see if the alignment is good. And if not, then you can just shift it around. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is take off the paper on these touch sensors, which I'll show you what they do. And you can just go ahead and put them on either corner here with the tweezers. I'm gonna use my thumb a little bit. Okay. And you want to make sure it is pretty well adhered to the shell, because if it comes off, then it could be difficult to use the touch sensors later on. So the one on the right side, immediate right, I'm going to grab the little infrared sensor here, just put it to the back. This won't render the infrared sensor useless. The infrared sensor will still work, but there will be touch controls on the sensor, and you just put that into place. So I'm going to go ahead and put those into place. Okay, so this isn't going to take long at all. So now grab the motherboard, and you remember how there's the bells on either side that you lifted up? Just keep them lifted up. Lift them back up if you already pushed them back down, and be gentle again. So make sure that the ribbon cable is pushed all the way in, and then on either side make sure the bells are all the way down. You might need to press both sides a couple times, and then align the motherboard. A lot of times you need to be cognizant of the speaker placement and make sure that it goes into place. And then it is then time to grab your screws. Okay. And your Phillips head screwdriver, and put the 3 screws on the bottom half of the motherboard back into the shell. Now, I have forgotten about this plenty of times, so we already have the infrared sensor piece there. Make sure that the power switch button is in place. Since I didn't flip the shell over, all 6 of the tri-wing screws are still in their place. So I'm just gonna put it down, and if you took the screws out, just put them in the screw post so that they're ready. Grab your tri-wing screwdriver and screw these all the way down. Now hold on. Before you hop off, don't you want to know how to use those touch sensors? So let's put some batteries in here, and you might prefer to use some rechargeable batteries, just because anytime you upgrade the display from the normal polarized screen, the battery life might be a little bit less, just because you are drawing more power with the backlit display. So let's just power it on. Okay, so the alignment actually isn't good. I didn't put it in how it wanted to be. It needs to be shifted this way, so that means when I actually shift it, I need to make sure it's that way, if you can see. So BRB, and then I promise I'll show you how to use the touch sensors. Okay, so the alignment is pretty much perfect now, and so the only change is actually when you're putting it in, you want it to be up in the top left corner is how you want to align it. I didn't do that originally, so that's my bad. Anyway, so to use the touch sensors, so the one on this side, you can kind of see it on this semi-transparent shell. Press and hold, and it goes through a few different pixel modes. It's only if you want like a few scan lines, but then if you just tap it once, and you can see this is why I recommend rechargeable batteries, is you can see the battery indicator flickering because of the additional power draw. It could be that these batteries are kind of low anyway. I don't know. But anyway, just tap on the top right and it'll adjust the brightness settings. And then on the left, you press and hold over the infrared sensor and it'll adjust the color modes. And there you go. So this is how you can backlight your Game Boy Color without modifying the actual original parts permanently.